Welcome to another episode of Plain Air, the number one podcast currently melting in the LA heat wave. We're your hosts,
AJ.
and
Sally.
some of the illustrations I find most impactful are the ones that create a sense of awe and wonder. When I think of these words, Maggie Chiang pops into mind. A Taiwanese American born and raised in Los Angeles, Maggie is currently based in the Bay Area, where she works out of her home studio. Her illustrations allude to another world, to an escape where the viewer can wander and explore in the safety of memories and fantasies. What draws me the most to Maggie's work is this sense of yearning, and there's this bittersweet nostalgia for something that's just out of reach. Juxtaposed with her beautiful compositions and color designs, you can easily get lost in them.
So Sally and I met Maggie at Art Center, and we actually all graduated together the same year. Medar de la Cruz was also in that graduating class. And something I remember initially when I first met Maggie was that I noticed her in a ton of classes I had, and she really stood out because she was always super meticulous, really well organized, and the work was just so strong. You know, it's the kind of pieces she would make are the kind that would just like jump off the crit wall and everyone would kind of like gawk at. I feel lucky to be her friend. Sally and I kind of
I also feel lucky.
we feel like we get some cool points to be in her presence. I know she's gonna hate us saying all this, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's like a privilege to know her and like be associated. Um, but yeah, very lucky to have her in our lives. Maggie is an incredibly eclectic illustrator. I'd call her a jack of all trades. She's worked with so many different clients and in so many different creative fields. We barely scratched the surface in our interview with her.
With what little time we did have, we dived into her inspirations and how she approached image making. We also discussed a bit about mental health and how that affects our creativity. You know, what with social media and all, just how and what people see versus the reality behind all of that.
Yeah, I was pretty moved by that section of the conversation because I think, you know, regardless of your skill level and your experience, whatever you see online is definitely not reality. You know, we all have our failures and dark times, and it's really admirable to hear Maggie shed some light on those difficult moments.
And I don't know about you, AJ, but I think it was not only cathartic for Maggie to talk about it with us, but it was also very helpful for me to listen and talk with just my friends in general about, just getting over that slump that we all get into.
And you may hear some weird noise in the background near the end of the interview. My neighbors decided to mow their lawn right as we're wrapping up. We apologize in advance. We're also recording this episode remotely, so you may hear some occasional blips, but we're figuring it out.
Without further ado, here's our conversation with the always delightful, super talented Maggie Chiang.
It's true, you're a
You're a
superstar.
superstar, and we can talk about a little like how we know you, like just reminisce. So yeah, obviously we're friends, me, AJ, and Maggie, and we know each other from Art Center, and like a very clear memory, and like something related to your art, Maggie, is when I see someone discover your art, and people were always like, it's always a trip to see because like I know I'm so familiar with your work, so it's like I take it for granted. But then I remember seeing it could have been Brian Ray. Like he didn't know he. I don't think you ever took a class with him, so he didn't know you. I saw him walk up to a wall and he sees your art, and I just see. And this is with everyone, but they will always be like, "Oh wow." They will kind of whisper it to themselves like they're in awe, and I'll be like, "Yeah, that's Maggie." Yeah, so you want to explain yourself?
Explain myself. What did I do?
I feel like that is kind of like the essence of the pieces you create. Like, not to embarrass you a bit.
I'm so embarrassed.
No, don't be embarrassed. It's true though. Like there's something about your work that like it encourages the viewer to take time with it. And we did see that a lot in art school where people would stop in their tracks to look at your stuff. I think it comes from a really strong design sense, but also you're reflecting a bit of your inner life to us that we can relate to, a little bit of the
Mhm.
isolation, a little bit of the loneliness, but like a lot of the appreciation for nature and stuff. It just seemed like it connected with people, and it still
Yeah.
does.
I find that so flattering because I'm like, because I'm not making these pieces with intent to create that reaction, right?
Well, I mean, when I look at your art, it's I mean, we've talked about this before, but there is like a dreamlike quality to it, and there's nostalgic elements to it. Also, bittersweet too. Almost like an escape. It feels like you want to escape, and and you create the world you want to escape in, and a lot of people relate to that. And oh, there is that one. Like we can even talk a little bit about childhood, because I think everyone, any creative, has like that one or two clear memory. Like something stands out to us, and that kind of like when we're young, we don't realize it. Only like as an adult looking back, you're like, oh, that kind of sparks our interest. For you, you mentioned something about like your mom pointing out like individual grass, like blades of grass or something. Yeah, you could tell
Yeah.
AJ about it.
I don't really remember what I was drawing. I don't remember how old I was either. This was so long ago. But I remember my mom just came up to me watching me. I think I was just drawing grass. Very mundane. Yeah, not very exciting. But I remember my mom was like, "Oh, why don't you draw the grass from like how it grows? Like you should draw it from the ground up." And that has always been so, I don't know what the word for it is. It's been like part of my practice ever since. Like every time I draw nature, which I draw a lot, I always think about like how does this grow?
I love that.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's so profound from my mom because she's not an artist. She doesn't draw,
Hmm.
but for that to come from her,
I've never heard of you talk about it like that. Where now you're the way you create. I mean, your own personal work. It's how something grows. You know,
mhm.
how does that work? How does that process work? Like, does that apply to only nature stuff? What goes through the mind of yours of Maggie Chiang, the artist?
I guess I do spend a lot of time staring at like my plants and seeing how like new leaves form and like how does it choose to grow another branch, things like that. Like I've tried learning about how to is it called like it's not grafting, but it's like how do you make, like let's say you're planting your background, right? If you want another branch to grow, I think you make a cut at a certain point and it'll like think that it needs to grow a
Hmm.
branch from there. So I just think about all these like weird connections, like how does this leaf come out of the plant? It's like
That is awesome.
No, that is a very like lovely way to think about it. But does it make you more precious about your art?
it does, which I feel like is a bad thing for me.
How so?
It's hard for me to like, let's say like I want to finish a painting, but like I have an underpainting. I'm like so precious with it, and it's like how do I paint on top of it to finalize it?
Hmm. A lot of control that you're
Yeah.
struggling with. I have the same problem.
You
Like
do?
I love seeing people that can just like attack a canvas or whatever. I mean, I don't love everyone. I don't love like the dude in Venice Beach that paints upside down and then he like flips it over and he's like punching the cardboard or whatever. I don't love that, but I love like people who are uninhibited by making mistakes. Um,
Yes.
because I don't know. I think I'm just too meticulous. I kind of don't want to show my hands and like let people know that I don't really know what I'm doing sometimes, or that I make like a mistake and then yeah, it's weird. It's weird how much I care about what people think about the work I'm making sometimes, and then I wish I could just
Let
splatter some
go.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see that in your work too. Because I said it before, but your design sense is like impeccable. It's so sick, and like I can tell that you're very calculated about where you put things and placement and symmetry and balance and hierarchy. Like I think those things are important in your work. Correct
Mhm.
me if I'm wrong, but I just see that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Graphic design is like a huge part of my work, even though I didn't pursue graphic design.
You got fooled me. Like I think even back in school, your sense of design was always very
Dude,
you,
strong.
yeah, very strong, very like unique. And I remember just like designing like my portfolio and moving my own illustration around like on a layout and just not knowing what to do. And then I look over at your what you're working on and it's like, oh, of course. What the heck? Like how and you've never taken a graphic design class and you already kind of always knew what you wanted. That's kind of like in your everyday life too, Maggie. Like I like in the clothes you wear, in you know, the tools you have and how you organize your tools and your
Dude, yes.
space.
Oh my god. You're unlocking all these memories of Maggie for me cuz I mean obviously your taste is so good, but seeing how you organize a pencil box and like all the Muji stuff you have and like even down to your handwriting,
Oh my
it's
god, the Muji.
so
Oh,
meticulous, I guess,
she's
but just
taking
like
something
really
out. She's taking something out.
Yeah,
for the view for the listeners at home, she's pulling something out.
do you think it's like I think it's okay, I really think it's OCD.
That's where this comes from.
Yeah. Do you remember my notebooks in school? I
Yeah,
remember
they're awesome. Like the way
oh
you
my
take
I
notes
still
is
do
like
The
it.
sketch. Oh yeah, your sketches.
yeah,
I remember
look
those.
at that. For people that can't see, she's written like line by line in the little squares and
This
has
Tiny,
is
little
how I
sketches that are
tiny
exactly the
handwriting.
same
each page is
size.
like each page is one editorial piece or one editorial project.
You are the worst enemy for people with bad eyesight.
Yeah.
Maggie writes in like size 5
Point one.
type, like point one, point two typeface.
Where
Yeah.
does that come from? Have you always been like that? Like in elementary
Oh
school,
my
you had a
god.
Muji box. Like,
No, but I've always had an obsession with writing notes and rewriting them so that
oh
it
wow,
looks perfect, which is I feel like such a curse.
I think that's a good practice because I can't read the shit I wrote like 10 years ago.
I mean, I'm a lot better now. Got it over that OCD in me, but
I mean, I think we all, you know, have that in some form or another. There is like certain preferences for like the aesthetics.
yeah.
Like like if there's I mean I can't, I'm just like thinking about all the little like weird quirks and stuff. But like if there's like if we have like 10 forks and there's one that I only like, I will only use that fork. Like I will never use the other forks. And if someone else is using my quote unquote my fork, like in
You
the
feel
house,
disgust, don't you?
I want it.
Yeah, you want it.
Like I would be like, give me that fork. Like I
That's my
can't use
fork.
any other fork because the other ones don't look as nice, you know?
Yeah. Or
So
in contrast, I have the thing where it's like, I have my favorite pen and it's like, but I'll never use it. It cannot be touched, it cannot be used, it cannot be worn.
How do you know it's your favorite if you've never used
she
it?
has 10
Right?
other versions of those. That's
That's the
why.
thing. I have oh my god.
Dang. Like to take it back to what Sally was talking about with your influences, can you like pinpoint a moment where you thought like this I kind of like this style. I'm ahead in this direction. Or was it more of just like an accumulation of different interests that you were looking at, you're watching some anime or something and you're also getting into photography or you're reading a lot of manga or something.
Just to add to that, like Maggie, you've done. I think you're probably one of like the friend and like professional illustrators I know who's worked in a variety of fields, like industries. Because
Yeah, super eclectic. Yeah.
yeah, you've done editorial stuff. You've worked for motion graphics companies. You've worked for like
Multiple
streaming
gallery
companies,
shows.
gallery shows, apps. Like you've had your fingers, in everything. Actually, everyone is unknowingly influenced by Maggie's design.
So there's like two questions, right? First one's influences. I feel like I'm, especially early on as a kid, I guess my style really evolved from what I was able to draw in the sense where I thought was successful, right? Like,
What did you draw?
where I drew a lot of plants, and then I felt like, especially early on, I learned that like whatever you do in terms of like drawing a leaf, flower, nature, you can really draw it in any way where it will still resemble a leaf or a flower. And I think I really loved that freedom.
I don't think many young artists or even, adults grasp that concept sometimes of like there's you can push the limit. It doesn't have to be what you see.
Mhm.
Like even when I used to teach, weekend art schools and stuff, especially the older kids, like I really struggle to get them to see that. So the fact that you're like, "Shh, I can do whatever I want, it's gonna look great." That's
Mhm.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, you have this you understand the form and then you can just apply any medium to make it look like a plant, whether you're like doing a watercolor or digital paint or
Mhm. And then I guess for current inspiration, it's like I'm very heavily influenced by photography. I don't know if you like notice like my more recent like digital pieces have like a soft glow to it, which is very inspired by like my Fujifilm because that's a very Fujifilm esque, look.
Are you influenced just by the workings of your specific camera, like the pictures you take, or are there photographers you're looking at, or are you more looking at the types of photography, like landscape photographies and whatnot?
I would say it's actually from cinematography, like from films.
ooh.
I'm very inspired by
Ooh.
that. I have like a whole Pinterest board on just like cinematography, just screen grabs. Like I love the Wes Anderson, right? Very symmetrical, and everything is like so well designed, and, right from down to color to like the clothing they're wearing, and just how all shots are framed so beautifully. And then right, it's like in film, there's always like a very beautiful like ambiance.
That fits you so well.
Wait,
That
Wes Anderson or film?
Wes
Yeah.
Anderson, and yeah, those that aesthetics that makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's not just Wes Anderson, obviously there's more.
Hmm.
There's like the is his name Wong Kar-wai?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Wong Kar-wai,
Right?
In the
Like
Mood for Love, Chungking
yes.
Express.
But he always has a lot of those, like, night shots, and it's like
Mhm,
is it, like, usually Hong Kong, right? And it's
mhm.
all the street lights, and it's, like, always so ambient, so soft.
This explains a lot with your work.
Yeah, you see that,
That's
right?
pretty sick. No, there's like an ethereal thing going on and it's dreamy.
Oh, but that's interesting because those are not very
Yeah.
they're not nature.
Yeah, they're
Very
not.
city. They're very city and people-based and architectural shots and moody lighting and whatnot.
The moody makes sense though. I
Mhm.
think I
Oh,
think
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
you're you're a mood master.
Yeah,
So like
Mood
I can
Master.
see I can see you appreciating that in like in those movies.
There it is a juxtaposition of ambiance, like this bittersweet moodiness, this almost like sadness to it and to your
Mhm.
work,
Yeah.
but that it's juxtaposed with these beautiful, shapes and colors. And well, I mean, I guess colors are subjective in terms of like what mood it brings, but
It's funny because in the past, I would like research each color and what the general public thinks it means,
Wow.
and
oh, I did
use
not
that
know
in my
this.
work. Yeah, so like yellow roses, right? That's like friendship. It's just
We didn't even get to that
fragmentation.
yet. Like, I feel like there's a whole biology aspect to your work and your appreciation for science and space and
Mm,
obviously botany and stuff, animals as well. Were you an aspiring, like, herpetologist or something?
no, but yeah, I would love to have learned anthropology.
I had an anthropology teacher that said she loved staring at bald men's heads because, like, standing in a grocery line and looking at the back of their head, they're like, "Oh my god, it's the occipital whatever cranial."
Right,
She could
yeah,
just,
yeah.
like, map it out on some bald dude's head.
Right, she can like, oh my god, it just
Yeah,
but
but
I feel like
mhm.
all these interests are very surface level because
Is it though? I feel like you get
Wait, what do
lost.
you wait,
You
yeah,
you
what do you
you
mean?
you get well, yeah, explain yourself, then I'll refute it.
explain myself. I don't know. I guess I'm just like comparing myself to like a real scientist, right? Like my knowledge of like, oh, red is the darkest color on the spectrum. Like, oh yeah, no shit, kind of. And
I
so
didn't
it's
know
very hard
that.
for us to see, but I feel like to the scientists, they are, that's very generalizing.
I mean,
Right, right.
like, yeah, on one sense, I get it. I get what you're saying, but that's a professional who's dedicated their lives
Their
to,
lives, yes,
and
to
it's
better the
very
world.
specific. But I mean, I don't think your interests are superficial though. Like, and again, to bring it back to the art, and it's actually, I think you could see it in your art. Whatever you like or whatever captures you, I feel like you tend to get lost in it. You go down the rabbit hole, you really invest your time into it, and I think that's very reflective in whatever you create. At least when I see your stuff, I can get lost into the world and into like the characters you create. I mean, it's cliche to say, but like everyone's like personalities and characteristics is kind of reflective, and you can kind of see in their art. And I feel like looking at your pieces, there's definitely that sense of you exploring and wandering and researching. So I wouldn't say it's superficial,
Mm.
not at all.
I guess it's really came from. So there's one article that I was reading, and I did not understand a word
Hmm.
in the entire article. I was like, it was like about quantum computers, and I just didn't understand. So I think it really stemmed from that. Just like, wow, I know nothing.
I mean, I guess that's a big plus of an illustrator's job is, like, learning a lot about different things, but you already have an interest in this stuff, so I feel like,
Hmm.
you're the perfect candidate for that kinda thing. Like, if they're gonna get me, I can just draw LeBron James or, like, a wave or something, but
Dude, but
they
I
gotta hit you
envy
up.
that. I want to be like, I can also draw portraits, but I'm not that person.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Back up.
I know.
I,
Rewind.
What?
I, I know you don't do a lot of portraits, but man, Maggie, whenever you post a portrait drawing or a painting, I think it's just so beautiful. Like, I know you're not comfortable with them, and you're always saying you're trying to figure it out, but I can pull up some portraits right now for you, and I can point out like why I think it, because there's such a nice, like, it's a gentle touch, you know, to how you draw people's features and render it, and it's carried over from your overall aesthetic or design sense, and do more of them.
I
No, but
appreciate you
anyway,
saying that
yeah,
because that is
I just
actually
want to
my next
interrupt that.
project.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That's, like after I finish what I'm working on now, that is the next thing I'm like trying to focus my energy on is like try to do more portraits. Like I don't know, I just want to expand more of my editorial art.
How would you approach? portraits? How do you approach portraits? Like well, I mean, if it's someone that is recognizable or someone or a
Mhm.
specific person, do you go, okay, all right, capture their essence, their personalities, or get the features right?
I have not thought that far yet, but for now, it's definitely like capturing the features, right? It's like looking at someone's face. Obviously, we have like majority of our features are the same, but it's like what about their face makes it their face? Is like what I'm gonna try focusing on.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
tough.
too generic? Sorry.
No,
No.
I'm thinking of like the caricature artist that's in Waikiki and just goes fucking
Yeah.
absolutely ham on someone's big nose, or like they would have a field day with my face.
Oh my gosh.
No, AJ, you don't even need to draw your face to get your portrait. You just draw a beanie and like glasses.
Dude, that's the drawing I
Dang.
did of AJ. It's like in his sketchbook. And I was like, oh my god, that's exactly what I drew. I drew beanie and glasses.
I gotta change it up, man.
No, that's your look. Through and
I was in
through.
France and like they gave me a gift after I spent time with my publisher out there, and they gifted me a red beanie. Cuz I wore mine to like down to the threads, and I guess they just thought it was too raggedy. I needed a new one.
Damn, they were like, this poor man cannot afford a new beanie.
Clearly, the royalties are not enough. Oh no,
So
but
Sally was
that's very sweet though. That's very
No,
sweet. Sorry.
it's so hard. It feels like
it was very sweet.
yeah, and then it's like a piece you can remember. It's like it comes with so many memories.
Yeah, totally. But Sally was talking about like your approach to portraiture, but I also was curious because you have your finger in so many different pots. Is that a phrase? Fingers in pots.
Pies, cakes.
Bowls. You have your finger in a lot of things.
It sounds so weird.
You have, yeah, your fingers are all over the place.
Oh my god.
Do you feel like, do you have a preference? I mean, you were doing motion for a while, and then you have a ton of experience with gallery work. Like, where does that why are you so eclectic in your choices with, because I feel like some artists will just stay in their lane and do one thing forever, but you seem like a really adaptable. Like, where does that come from?
So at first it was definitely because it was a necessity. When we graduated, we're so poor.
Sad laughs.
Right. You remember when it's kind of crazy how long ago it was now, but it doesn't feel that long ago when we were, struggling aspiring artists. So I felt like in that time I just had to find and take every opportunity that I could. So it definitely was because of that. But I think with that came with a lot of emotions of feeling very lost, confused, and like, it's like you said, there's a lot of artists that pick one lane and stick with it. And I saw that too. So I was like always asking myself, like, what am I? Like, what kind of artist am I? It felt very isolating, I guess.
Hmm.
Like very lonely. Just like I don't know what I am. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
But
But
now
um,
I really appreciate that I did that.
mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there are definitely artists who stick in one lane and just like keep doing what they're familiar with. But it's also not easy to seek out all these other opportunities because you could have easily just been like, okay, editorial work is slow, maybe illustration's not for me, and just given up. You know,
Hmm.
that's and I can see so many people falling into that trap, whereas you were like, fuck, I better do something. I better change it up.
But
And
also excel at everything that you did. You know,
exactly.
it's not
Mhm.
like you just like went to get a paycheck, but you did what you're doing well.
Yeah, I think it came from like I needed pieces for my portfolio. And it's also like, you want to be on good terms. You want to show your best to each client no matter what. But obviously, like, in the beginning, I made so many mistakes. I know I created work that I'm not proud of, but I feel like through those mistakes, it's like what created me now.
Yeah. List all the mistakes.
All right. First off, being
No,
terrible.
no, no. But do you? I feel like at this point you have a very strong voice, and do you feel like you've gotten to that place where you kind of figured out what kind of artist you are, or you still feel like the search is never ending?
I like the idea that the search is never ending.
Yeah. Then what's the point of this if we all figured it out, right? I guess.
Right? Yeah. Like I I love that, you've mentioned it earlier, Sally. I just love the idea of constantly exploring. I feel like I enjoy the I guess wandering is
The
the best way to
process.
yeah. And I just really like working with different types of clients because I feel like I learn so much from each thing, right? Each thing requires something different from me, and that really informs my own work.
Can you walk us through like the process of formulating your art show? And I know you have one coming up. We
Mhm.
got to plug it.
Yeah, that's what
Maggie.
Maggie has an
Maggie's
upcoming solo show in Los Angeles.
solo.
Solo at Giant Robot. I forgot the date, but yeah, actually, why don't you promote it, Maggie? You're more familiar with it.
You
So
don't have to
yeah.
promote it. I mean, we could. No pressure. No
I
No
pressure. You
mean
can talk
pressure.
I
about
mean, talk
whatever
about
you.
yeah, talk about
Yeah.
sorry, I meant, talk about what AJ was saying, how, like, going through the process of creating a solo show, a solo gallery show, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, this past week has been insane. So I initially don't really start. I mean, I create pieces on my own in my free time, but like to create pieces for like a dedicated show, I don't really start until like the gallery asks me. So this time it was about like I had a 6 months like heads up, which I feel like is not a lot of time.
Dude, that's fast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
I
a lot
like
of time at
wish I
all.
had a year, but it's hard to talk about preparing for a show. I think because along the way, I'm not like planning. It's more like, especially the first 3 months, you're just kind of creating whatever, right? And then, so in the beginning, it was like, what do you say? I painted a lot of fish, and I was like, is this going to be like a sea themed or aquatic animal themed show? And then I started painting other things, and I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know how do I combine these things together into like a cohesive idea, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily cohesive, but it's just like, you want at least an overarching theme, whether it's, vague or specific, right? It could be like, oh, I want the whole show to be blue. So in the beginning, it's just very, very much discovery, exploring, experimentation. And then towards the last 3 months, it's like that's when I start writing up like the plans. Like, okay, I have to like be serious. Like, I need to know how I'm gonna figure out the last 3 months of my time working on this. Right. So I have like two calendars written across like what I need to get done each month.
Nice.
I also plan like, oh, which pieces need to be framed because framers they need time too, right? They need to order supplies, they have their workers, right? And that's kind of all I can really talk about in terms of creating, pieces for a show. But I think this specific show that am working on, like I kind of want to talk about the theme.
Yeah, please.
It was like, so Sally kind of knew about this last year. I like became very depressed last year, and I could not shake it for the longest time, and made it really hard to create art. I felt it was like a mix of like art block and just emotions. Feeling like a failure in a sense, but in my own head. Yeah, and there's a lot of outside factors. It was like, the writer's strike was happening. Also, economically, it's not doing well. So a lot of people are getting laid off. Our industry got impacted a lot too, right? A lot of us like work was very slow, right? So all of that accumulated into just like feeling really, really sad. And on top of that, last year I also had an art show, and I feel like it just wasn't successful, at least not successful to me. Maybe in terms of like monetary reasons. Like, I just didn't sell that many pieces. Did people even like it? You know, all those things. So when the gallery asked me to do another show, I was like so surprised. I was like, "What?" Even though I feel like I bombed the last show. I was very hesitant at first. I told him like, "I'm very burnt out. I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try." And it kind of went on for like a month or two. Just me telling him like, "I don't know. I'm burnt out still." And he's like, "Dang, you know, like, oh no." And it was only until like maybe 2 months, 3 months into the like creating pieces, I told him like, "I can do it. I can do it." And so I realized like it was like this depression that I went through, this sadness that I went through that became like the catalyst for this body of work. What I got from it was like what we were talking about earlier, just like letting go. What kind of work would I make if I just am free of whatever restrictions I had in my mind?
Dude, incredible. Thank you for sharing all that. I know it's not easy to talk about, but I think it's important that we share like the hardship of this, but that yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
for
think
letting
I
me
think
share.
that's I mean, that's a very common topic that we talk about, feeling like you failed or depression in general. And also, even if on a surface level you look like you're succeeding, your bank account is not doing that well, because that can happen too, where the art is well received, but if the economy is kind of not doing that well, or just whatever's bad luck is out there, no one is either buying your art or no one is hiring you for that stretch of time. It really does like get into your head, and you know we we've talked about it a lot, and it's always easier said than done.
Our group chat was sad last year.
Eh,
We're all just so I mean, you're not alone, Maggie. I mean, I think that might have been my slowest year ever too, and like Sally's saying, it doesn't matter how successful anyone perceives you are, like shit is rough.
right? The reality
Yeah.
is so different. Like everyone, yeah, I don't know. People just have like an idea of me because of my Instagram, but it's like I only post the good things, you know. Like I'm
Of
not here to
course.
post complaints, sadness, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. You
But
should.
You should.
I think I did a little bit during that episode, and then I kind of regretted it. I was like, why am I doing this? I say like even though I feel like that last show was a failure in my mind, I don't really think that much. I don't think of it that way now because I think it was an idea that I had to get out of my head, and I'm glad that it's out there. And now I see like the results of it, and through that I can create this new body of work.
Yeah, totally. Those
Mhm.
things are necessary. That's so interesting you say that because I love that show. But it was like a huge departure from your other stuff. Maybe what you're saying about sales like reflects, the insecurity of like, oh man, I branched out too far and people don't like this from what I'm usually doing.
Yeah,
I get that.
I mean, that's the thing with, again, it's easier said than done to really, it takes time. And you're such a disciplined person. And when you gravitate towards things like science or math problem and stuff, like if you do this and this and this, you get this and it's right away. But with art, it just takes time. Like things take time, and that I think that's just the nature of art. Unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society where there's other factors that need to be taken care of. But I think you just can't rush it. There are pieces we create that down the line, 2 years, 3 years maybe, where we will only see the results then, and see all the benefits then. And that can really be infuriating, but that's just the reality of it, unfortunately.
that's the reality of art.
Listen to Mama Chang, man. Draw it how it grows.
Yeah,
Patience and growth. That's the
draw it
whole
how it
that's
grows.
a theme of your whole artistic career so far, it feels like. Your mom was right.
Yeah.
Well, and also like plants, it takes a while to grow. I have a freaking fiddle leaf that looked like it was about to die, but
Now you have
you,
5
you
of them.
yeah, holy crap! Like you just give it a little bit of time, give it a little love and nurture, and it can surprise you.
Okay, tell that to my monstera. Top job. I've had it for like 8 plus years. It has only stuck to 3 leaves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You gotta
It's gotta
take it outside of the studio, just
it's
like you.
gotta
You gotta walk outside a little bit more.
Dude, I'm very much a hermit lately, creating this show.
we can't wait.
You want to jump into some fun questions that AJ always has a blast with these. I feel like that's like because I see you put like a ton, way
I
more.
did.
Yeah. I mean, is that too abrupt of a change or abrupt of a
We
turn
can
in
we can make it
conversation?
smooth in post. We
Yeah.
can like
What would it be in post? It's just a fade out with some music and then fading back in.
You could
Yeah,
just
why
you
not?
could keep it simple, just like, "All right, let's move on to, like, the rapid
Yeah.
fire questions."
Or I'm just gonna
Nice.
keep all this in there and just
Yeah,
this
no,
is
that
good.
this works too.
Yeah,
I
because
perfect.
we're because I mean, like, what else can I think we ended that part of the conversation at a good theme or a good,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that
thought.
was that was beautiful. It was so cohesive.
Yeah, I love
It
that.
was so there's a continuity there. Growth, branching out.
Aha. Back to growth.
All right. How is reptilian motherhood?
Dude, it's so great. I love it. I will say I thought okay, so originally I had a beta fish back then. You guys know Derek, the
Dude,
beta fish?
yeah. You freaking had to jump through hoops and
Yeah,
stuff.
he is the best fish. I personally think he had emotions. He like can recognize me maybe in a sense. I don't know. I'm like probably a blur
Dang.
to him, but he's like, "Oh, that's my person's blur," you know? Whatever he saw. I feel like he had personality. And so I was
Yeah.
hoping to see like with the lizards, like what kind of personality they would have. And they do. They have very, very different personalities. I have two. And one is very timid and one is very like feisty.
What is the breed?
Oh yes, they're crested geckos. I think they're also called eyelash geckos because they have like little
Mm.
eyelashes. Very cute. But I would say they're not the brightest, but I love them, regardless.
Dude, the shots of them sleeping that you post are so funny.
They're so cute. I'm like, "Why? How is this comfortable?"
Yeah, they are dummies, but we
Yeah.
love them. Okay, I'll take another one, then you take one, Sally. Like we are saying, you're super multi-talented and eclectic in your taste. Tell us about your passion for beverages.
I was trying to think, like, where did this start from? I've always had obsession with tea. You know what? Okay, it must be, like, the boba shops. I think it has to be the boba shops where it started, right? You know, when we're kids, you get that black tea, green tea, right, from any boba shop, and then from there, it's like I was like, "Dude, I wanna make this at home," you know? But, yeah, as a kid, terrible. I was like, "Oh, this is not it." And then after college, I had, like, a full-time job, and from there, I started making matcha drinks in the office. Man, bless everyone there. I'm so sorry. My drinks are so much better now.
I'm
I'm
sure they're happy to have a freaking free beverage from a coworker. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, back then it was so fun because we had a Slack channel, so I would type in, like, "Today I'm doing matcha."
Dang, dude, you're a designer and
Dang.
you're a caterer. What the heck?
You have like the best snacks and drinks at your show.
Oh
Yes.
my god, I
Oh
cannot
my
wait to see
god.
the snacks we get this time. It's same people, so I'm very excited.
Oh yeah. Just very quickly for anyone in LA, obviously go for Maggie's show, but
But come
stay
ready to
stay
snack.
go for the art, stay for the snacks, or go for the snacks, stay for the art.
There you
Which
go,
one's the
second
better?
one, the
Uh,
latter.
stay for the art, go for the snacks.
Dude, you just created a line around the whole block,
Oh
and then it's gonna
god.
be a viral TikTok sensation.
The caterers are actually a high school friend of mine that I reconnected 2 years ago at a music festival. So, I was like, "Do you do catering?" And then he was like, "Yeah, we do." And I was like, "Oh my god, okay, I have to have you cater my show." I'm so grateful that the gallery, Giant Robot, they're very down, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But you curate the food too. Like you
yeah,
pick
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, that's it. That's so crazy. Like find
Literal taste.
yeah, find
And
you
then
an artist who will put as much care and time into not only the art but the food and the drinks.
the hors d'oeuvres.
Dude, for real. Like we've gone to so many shows, and if there is snacks or anything, it's like, I don't know, bland ass
Sprite,
salami or something.
Coca-Cola in a bucket of ice.
Yeah,
A
some
bucket of ice.
Right, that's the
canned water.
classic, snack area.
Dude, shout out to you, Maggie.
No,
Damn.
I have to shout out to the caterers because
All right, what's their name? Shout them out real quick.
they recently rebranded as Cappy Cafe,
Cappy
like
Okay.
Cafe.
KAPI. They're amazing.
Sick.
So
They are amazing. Your last show was delicious.
A
because
feast for the eyes and a
yeah, so last
literal
year I
feast.
actually told them that like I'm creating a show based on like right the title was like homesick. So it
Mhm.
was like
Oh,
very much
sweet.
about like Taiwanese American lifestyle. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we had like the almond jelly, it was very Taiwanese
Oh
or
my
very
Popcorn
reminiscent
god.
of
chicken.
like, Asian snacks.
So Adria just put this in the doc and I'm seeing it. And I'm gonna ask that one because it's bringing back all these nice memories. So when are we surfing again, Maggie?
Dude,
That was so fun, dude.
that's so funny because I don't know if Adrian remembers, but my favorite part is just
I
laying on the board
Yeah,
in the
it's
middle
the
of the
best.
ocean.
Dude, I do that by myself these days, and
Yeah.
people just like stare at me. But yeah, that was the best. Just laying on it.
Dude, I'm so down. Okay,
and
maybe next
I
time
was
I'm in
drowning
LA.
Maggie. But this is when I was just learning. I mean I'm still a beginner, but I was a beginner. And AJ was kind enough to teach me and Maggie at the same time. And at one point, the waves were like picking up. We were both on a giant foamy, like a wave
I think
storm,
I remember this.
Yeah,
and
there's the big
we
ones.
both fell off the board. And I was able to climb back on my board really quickly. And I was like, Maggie, Maggie, where are you? I, I just see these arms from under my board, just
Right,
just
I think
be
I got
like.
caught in the riptide. Like,
I was literally like pressing down on Maggie with my board.
oh, wait, I
That
remember this now.
yeah,
Yes,
not
you
the
were on
riptide.
top of me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
The
was like,
riptide was named
Maggie.
Sally.
Yeah, Maggie, Maggie, where are you? And then you're like, bro, I'm trying to get back up. So yeah, I almost killed Maggie.
Don't worry,
Oh
at least
man,
I know how to swim.
dude, we have to do it again. It was the best.
Yeah.
You guys were excellent students, I will say. All right, do another one, Sally.
Okay, Maggie,
Sally.
Maggie, what
AJ.
age? Describe your dream studio.
So definitely main location has to be home. Like I just love being at home. Comfort. Yeah. And then I would love to have like a room where it's like right, it's like the studio corner, right? Like and we need like tall windows, right? We want tall, big windows, south facing best,
Mhm.
we want that
Natural
natural
light.
light. Yep. And then in the other corner, I want it to be like a cafe, like an at home
Sick.
cafe. Dude, oh my god, I've seen like a video of this person. It was like an IG reel. It's probably originated from TikTok, but it was like someone setting up a cafe in their home and like all their friends came over to work as if they were in a cafe. And I
Dang.
loved that
Oh
so
wow.
much. Honestly, there has to be a gaming corner, right? Like, we have to have our computers, our
Dang. What
PCs.
games? What games?
Oh man, every game.
Oh my god, Meg! It's so funny, AJ. Like Meg is such a hardcore gamer.
Yeah.
It's sick. We didn't
It-
even talk about that. Tell us about it.
yeah,
Yeah, I play too many games. That's
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 it.
all I can
That's
say.
it.
It's like it ranges from like, very casual, like, like Animal Crossing, right, on the Switch to like I play a lot of competitive games on like the PC. So we'll talk about like the usual League of Legends, Valorant.
Sick.
Yeah. It's bad.
That's good. What are you talking about?
Takes away painting time.
I still remember that one time, AJ, when I visited Maggie, and
Oh.
we were out all day, and then we also went climbing at night. So we came
Mhm.
back almost 12, actually, now that I think about it. But we were like butt tired, and as we were entering the door, we were still talking about,
Handshaking.
I'm ready to just like shower and knock out. And I see Maggie immediately go to her desk. She just turns on her laptop and immediately hops on to a game. And like
Shameful.
yeah,
Shameful.
Maggie found her energy.
Yo, I messed up. Like, I thought we're doing rapid fire, and I was reading the wrong questions. But I mean, those are questions I wanted to ask. So I want to ask more rapid fire questions.
Okay, we
That
can do
works.
that. Yeah, we can
Oh,
do.
Dude, we
one more
did.
thing. I want to say, like, you know, like in games, competitive games, like you die. So in between, when I'm dead, I paint.
Oh my god.
Wait, how
And
long
then
is that
when I'm back
interval?
alive, I like quickly. It's very short,
Oh my god.
but sometimes it
That's
can
so,
be like a
oh
few
no, but
minutes.
that's such a good practice though. That loosens you up. That doesn't make you like precious with certain things. So maybe you should actually do more of that. I think the
Well, I
games are
do that every
beneficial.
night. Yeah, while I'm gaming, I'm also drawing. There's a lot of downtime in between, you know, deaths.
All right.
Featuring
All right. Since we were talking a lot about food and stuff, like imagine you got the day off, we're in town, where are you taking me and Sally? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
breakfast,
Snacks,
snacks.
drinks, etc.
So daytime for sure, we'll go on a hike, right? That's not food
Yeah.
Where
though. But
also where? Where are we?
right, we're in South Bay, right? So around it's like the Santa Clara Valley. Yeah, so we'll go hiking in the morning, which I know it's not food, but it's like we'll go hike in the redwoods. We won't do a super hard hike, but enough to get our appetites going. Either we can do the poke place that I took Sally
I'm
to. So it's
so
like yeah,
let's
it's like
go.
an authentic
Let's go.
Hawaiian poke. Okay, not like I'm sorry, not like the LA poke. I'm so sorry. We all know. Okay, everyone knows. I mean, it's good, but it's not like Hawaiian poke. You know,
Yo, talk your talk. Let
it's
them know.
different. It's different. Everyone is different. But no, we have authentic Hawaiian poke here. We'll get that. If it's specifically a Saturday we're doing this, I will call that place up to reserve us some strawberry mochis that they hand make. But if it's not,
Sick.
it's okay. And
Whoa.
then we'll go down the street to get boba from my favorite little tea shop. They
Shout
have
them
like
out.
they're called Sincere Tea. Great.
Shout out Sincere Tea.
It's like a
This
very cute name.
episode sponsored by Sincere Tea.
I wish. Oh my god, the best thing is they have seasonal drinks, and I always look forward to the seasonal drinks. Like I think summer they have like pandan. The winters they have like sesame and peanut butter. It's crazy. It's great. Dinner we will go to. I think it's a Mexican spot. I don't know if it's like a fusion or not, but for sure it's like Mexican style food. Yeah, they have the best. I don't know what the meat's called. Carnitas, carne
Mhm.
asada, something like that. But they have like
Sick.
really good tacos. Oh my god, they
Mhm.
have like really good hot sauce there. Oh, and they have like really good cocktails too. Yep, yep.
Ooh.
Very fun.
Where's the after party? We doing a
Back
LAN party
home.
at your house?
Oh wait, I forget. Afternoon, we also come back to my place. I'll make us tea, and we'll have like tea snacks, whatever snacks I have prepared. Usually, probably like like it might be from Costco.
Shout out Costco.
Yeah, and an after party back home,
Nice.
mixed with gaming.
Perfect day. I'm coming. We're coming over.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, you guys gotta come up.
Yeah,
Sally's been a few times.
Maggie and Daniel are like the most amazing hosts.
That's not the first time I've heard this.
Dang,
Yeah,
I love that. Thank you, thank you.
multiple parties have sung your praises.
Yeah, we love
Five
hosting.
star review.
Wow, thank you, thank you. Oh,
All right, then AJ, you have any more questions, or should we just end on that perfect day spent with Maggie? And for anyone listening, they can just imagine it. Thanks for doing this, Mags. Do you want to give more shout outs, or you want to promote yourself more?
But yeah, do you have anything to add?
no, I just thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Dang.
Woo.
I'm so honored to be. I noticed that AJ's pointing to a painting of mine in his background or in his
Love it so
on his
much.
bookshelf.
It's framed and everything.
Yeah, I'm
No,
so
it's gonna.
excited for you guys though for this journey you guys are starting.
Let's talk next time.
Yeah,
All
I'd love
right.
to do this again.
Okay. And we're done. Yay.
A round of
Okay.
a,
Action.
a round of applause for Maggie Chiang. A very, very big thank you to Maggie for joining us in the PA studio. We had such a good time catching up, and I hope we can make that dreamy day she planned a reality.
So AJ and I attended the opening of Maggie's gallery show, but by the time you listen to this, the show's definitely over. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't follow Maggie's work. And if there's any chance in the future for you to see her paintings and drawings in person, definitely go, because it's amazing. And there's a very high chance that she'll have her catering friends, cater the gallery again, and the food is going to be amazing, as it was when we went. So yeah, go.
Yeah, definitely lived up to the hype. All of the discussion we had about the food and obviously the artwork was incredible. It was so sick to have this conversation with her and then, experience her work in person and witness the growth that she was talking about and sort of the aftermath of that struggle that she was going through. And it's really inspiring stuff.
Bo show.
And we're going to get way better about planning stuff so that we can actually promote our friend before the show's over.
Yeah, we realized that, I think, almost probably like right after we recorded the interview, I think, or at least I did. I was like, oh wait, the show's gonna be over by the time this episode's gonna be out. But you know
We will plan better.
yes, we will. Sure. No promises. We want to also take a second to mention everyone that's taking time out of their day to listen to the very first episode, and they texted us, they messaged us, and we're just so overwhelmed by all the love shown and all the support. And from the very bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. We feel all warm and fuzzy from the love. My cold heart has grown 3 times its size. And we can't wait to record more of these, because we really are having a blast.
Dude, thank you guys so much. Jeez, so cool. And we also want to open this pod up to you. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, guest suggestions, art directors' emails, job opportunities, spams or scams, email us at pleinairpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll try to answer you at the end of each episode. Oh, it's my line. As always, thanks to the PA boys, Fernie, Keith, and John for the music, and our involuntary yet steadfast audio engineer, Vincent.
Thank you. It's weird sometimes to thank my little brother, but yeah, my little brother Vincent, who is the pro bono audio engineer.
Shout out.
Lastly, this episode was brought to you by Patagonia.
Yeah. We're trying to manifest a bag, get a box, something.
Yeah, just something. Some merch. Patagucci. Oh wait, oh no. Is that not the right way to call them? Would
I
they
don't
find it
know.
offensive?
Maybe
know.
they'll find it endearing. They'll give us something. Anyway, catch y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Short shorts. All right, let me pause for a second.